Friends, you know what it is. Every single day we're doing one video for the first 100 days in 2025. I actually have a guest with me today, but we're not doing a long ass podcast. It's my good friend Aussie Steve with Homebuyer Louisiana. We're actually in their office here today. Steve runs the largest wholesale company in New Orleans. We have partnered a lot over the years. And so the topic we're going to go through today is I am going to pull from him 5 tips from an experienced wholesaler. Steve, real quick, how many wholesale deals have you done?
178.
So 178. Okay, you've added since 2025.
No, sorry, 179. Sorry, I closed one today. 179.
Sweet. Okay, so guys, let's jump into it. Steve, what are your 5 tips from your experience as a wholesaler that you think folks need to know?
I think tip 1 is don't use your optimistic ARV, right? You got to get ARV right. Getting the ARV right is important, but you can also get it right. And I think, when the ARV is like, it could be this or it might be that.
Well, especially in this stupid market right now. Like, okay, so the property I just bought yesterday, you could argue it's worth 340, 350. Like there's comps that support that, but it sat on the market at 305 for 6 months and didn't sell. So which one is it?
Yeah. So when you see that range, pick the lower ones when you send that out to your buyers, right? Make them, the tip is like, I always believe you under promise, over deliver. And if you send that AAV and the buyer's like, no, that's not right.
There's some upside.
They're like, no, I'll get more. Like that is how they then get into your deal. That is then how they view you as credible and look at your deals going forward. So
you're not trying to milk it all either.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. So when you're doing with your ARV, your after repair value, don't use the optimistic end, be realistic. All right, what's tip number 2?
Tip number 2 would be have a good estimate of rehabs, of what a rehab's going to cost, right? You want to get good at knowing the numbers, knowing what people are spending to update the big ticket items like ACs, kitchens, etc. But don't tell it to your buyers.
All right. I know your theory behind this. What's the tip behind not telling it to your buyers? Because it's important. Why is it important to know the number?
You need to know, you need to have a budget for rehab, because how else are you going to price the deal? You need to know the ARV, right? You need to know what it's going to cost for rehab, and then you need to factor in, depends on your market, but buyers are going to buy at 70% of ARV minus repairs. In some markets, more like 65%, depends on the area. So you need to know your number. So you need to know your rehab, but don't tell them.
Why not tell them?
Don't tell them because you're wrong 100% of the time. And
explain that.
Yeah, what I mean by that is like, you're going to say this number, but you're always wrong because everyone is different, right? And you show 10 buyers, they're going to have different opinions, they're going to use different finishes. Some have different guys, in-house, out-house. So when you put a number, like half the people are going to go, oh, that's actually cheap. They're going to say, oh, that's too high. That's too low. That's too low, that's too high. You're wrong either way. It's just when you put an exact number, they're the experts. It should just make, but if you get the ARV right, and if you calculate the rehab price right, when you put your asking price, the buyer should be able to look at the deal and go, that's a deal. I can do that.
And so instead of you, so the next tip that you're going to share, so instead of sharing the actual number, like, it's a $50,000 rehab, what's your third tip?
My third tip is to show a lot of photos of the property. Some wholesalers send out deals and there's a photo from the window of the car. You say no's.
And it's blurry and there's a finger in the picture.
Yeah,
it's ones that they got from the seller and it's not actual good photos.
Yeah. And so you want to have lots of photos, they want to see the roofs, they want to see the AC, take a photo of if it's got a plate of the date. You want to get a lot of photos. So you send it out to your buyer, they're seeing a realistic ARV, that it's priced in with a good rehab, you priced it right in the asking price, and they're seeing lots of photos.
Yeah, and I mean you're aiming for 50, right?
Yeah.
So what is so you're not naming an actual $50,000 budget, but what you are doing is a true buyer can go through those photos and be like, all right, this needs that needs to be worked on,
So yeah, and then that segues to my 4th tip, which is be transparent, show them all the problems, right? And with the photos, links to take photos of the cracks, take photos of the mold. A realtor is normally gonna when you list it,
hide it.
You're trying to get the nice angles, and it's actually to wholesale. Yeah. It's actually the reverse. You're taking photos of the problems because the buyers want to see it. You know, I believe that wholesaling, when you're doing dispo, you're telling, not selling. You're not convincing, you're not twisting arm, you're showing them, you know. So if you show them all the problems and they see that, they get the ARV, they see all the problems, and they're doing their own math to go, okay, well, fix. They're gonna have their own rehab budget. They're gonna go, I got some fat in that. That's a good deal. And let them think it. Let them see it for themselves, as opposed to like trying to sell it to them.
This is going to tee right into your fifth point. What's your fifth tip as an experienced wholesaler? What can you give the wholesalers who are watching this? What's your final tip for them?
Listen to your buyers. Your buyers are the experts. Don't fight with them, because you might, you might get people saying, hey, I don't agree with your ARV, I don't agree with your budget. And don't get defensive. You know, some whole like, what are you talking about? Even if you believe in it, listen to them, right? Because they have the knowledge. Like I've learned.
They're the operators.
Yeah, I've learned so much from the buyers. And look, but if you don't agree with them, don't argue with them. Hear their perspective, and if you don't agree, sell the deal to someone else and show them that way, right?
Yeah, like
So
prove them wrong through selling it to someone like this is an actual. I know that. Like I remember having one of the mistakes I made back when I was wholesaling a ton is I sold it to one buyer, and she was like, "Oh, I'm cutting you a deal here," and I made such a low fee on that one. It was like one of those things. But they argued with so much. If I would have actually gone to other buyers, I would have gotten a bigger fee, and like because it was really, again, I was listening to one buyer's perspective, and although I disagree with it, I just wanted to do a deal with that buyer.
Yeah, and look, and they're not wrong. Again, that's what I'll never argue with a buyer, because if they've got money and they buy properties, they're not wrong. The customer's always right? But they may not be the customer for this deal. So I'm not going to argue with someone. I'm gonna let me hear. I'll listen to you. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm going to take it in, right? But I'm also going to show it to other people who they might have a different exit strategy. They might have a different cost base, like, and they might go, that's a deal. And it's not the other person's wrong. It may just not have been a deal for them. If you listen and hey, if you get like 5 buyers all telling you the same thing, you might have messed up. But yeah.
And that's where you want to listen to basically you're getting the same feedback over and over again.
Yeah.
Excellent, Steve. Thanks for these 5 tips. Guys, I hope this was helpful for you. Again, subscribe if you haven't already. 1 video a day for the first 100 days in 2025. Appreciate it, Steve.